going down? Down to the tunnel, right? What tunnel? You know Frankenstein Tunnel? Have you been there? Yeah. Oh!
We've been on there.
Yeah? Did you go all the way to the end, or?
Yeah.
Really?
And he's through the bridge down, that Croton Bridge down there.
Uh-huh.
And he's out down there.
Uh-huh. So it comes out by the bridge, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, go down and take a look, too.
Go in. We need a lot of flashlights.
Yeah, we got a couple of flashlights, so we can see what we're doing.
What, are the people down there now?
No, it's just me and him are going to go down. You guys want to...
No, it's like a sewer down there. It's like a sewer.
It's like a sewer down there?
You know what? We may have one that's a Dracula cave, too.
Dracula cave?
Yeah.
There's another one?
Yeah. Right after the Frankenstein. They're like this.
What's it off ahead? All right. All right, pass. What was this, an aqueduct?
The first Croton Aqueduct, around 1845.
Yeah.
Because this candy power goes from up here at Highgate all the way down to...
Right down to Central Park?
If anything breathes on you, you see any eyes down at the end. Yeah, give it up. Now, this is dry. It goes uphill at this point, I guess. Yeah, after it goes uphill for a while, it takes a turn, and as we get into the turn, the atmosphere changes. It starts to get cold. Yeah, sure.
I think I'm getting close.
You are. Okay. Why don't you run out of here then?
My heart's beginning to beat real fast, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm starting to get ready to do.
Why don't you go down there and call?
Down there?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, just keep going. What do you see? Good? Let's see. What was it? Okay, let's go get it. No, I didn't see anything.
Right. You know what it was?
What?
But, right.
What'd you see?
Here's a living shit out of it. You were shining your light back, right? Well, some shadow. My shadow, see?
Uh-huh. Did you see yourself?
Yeah, my shadow was being projected into the mist over there, right? So I saw it, I thought, fuck, there's this guy standing there, right?
Okay, go on down. Go down to the end.
You hold my hand,
I'll keep a light on you so you keep seeing guns all around.
I think that most of the sewers are made out of either. The old, real old sewers are made out of brick, but reinforced concrete, some other substance, can do damage to you if you caress it with too great a velocity. 16 foot wide by 9 foot deep, but there's seldom more than 2 feet or so of headroom in here that's not encumbered.
Uh-huh.
This is it's one of the most beautiful smelling sewers in the city because apparently the spice wholesalers grind spices in the vicinity and their wash down carries odors of cinnamon and cloves into that sewer. If you have a chance to visit that.
Too bad we can't translate the smell to what we're doing.
But
what about animals in the sewers? I mean, we're sort of at the horse's mouth. There's a lot of myths and rumors and stuff around about that.
Well, the ecology of the sewer does not permit, for example, for the continued existence of alligators, which is the number one myth.
Right.
You know, that for some reason, why New York of all places was selected as the alligator kingdom of the world as far as sewers are concerned, I don't know.
Thomas Pynchon was probably responsible for
No,
that.
I'm not so sure.
I can tell you that I personally had an encounter with an alligator. As a matter of fact, I was bitten on the finger by one.
How big?
Oh, it was about so big. No. In the stacks of the New York Public Library, 42nd Street, in the early 50s, late 40s, early 50s.
Right.
I think this is where the rumor started.
They have a
Apparently there was a terrific fad.
Yeah, there was a
People who
craze.
went down to Florida on a vacation would bring back baby alligators, for reasons which completely escaped me, but they would bring them back. And this young lady had received a box, and there was air holes in the box. And for some reason, she was a little bit leery about opening it, so she asked me to open it for her. I opened it, I put my hand in, and I came out with a baby alligator hanging off the end of my finger. Populous inhabitants of the sewers are the rats.
Yeah, and is there anything that feeds on the rat? No cats or anything like that?
Generally, the women are sewer. Incidentally, a rat can be man's best friend in the sewer.
Because it'll tell you gas.
That's correct. If somebody, for example, upstream the way you're working decides that this is a good time to get rid of a 55-gallon vat of kerosene by surreptitiously dumping it in the sewer and creating an explosive gas mixture, the rat will sense that because of his keener senses. He'll know about it long before you will. And if there's rats around you, you can usually only tell by the glint of their eyes in the dark when they're looking at you. When they take off, you know something's
So
happening.
you head in the same direction they do?
No, I don't. They generally dive into the sewer. I head up to their hole. The trouble with living in sewers is that the environment is a very tenuous one, okay? Because most of the sewers in New York are combined sewers.
Right.
They're designed to carry off the sanitary flow and the storm flow. All right, so, you know, every time there's a heavy rain and the sewer fills up, you got to find a new home. Life in the sewer is not a happy ending.
Are there any sort of mythical stories about people or things in the sewers? You know,
A couple of famous names associated with problems with sewers, very big lines.
Well, that's not, those are inside jokes. Well, every time you run across a, how should I say it, an unusual type of construction, which was obviously done, you know, ad hoc, in a fashion not up to the best standards of the department, I would say that mythical construction man, Herbie Kablant, was on the job. And he created some kind of a disaster situation that you can never figure out what to do with. Fall it into stores.
Oh, yeah.
That little boy up in one famous case in Highgate there. We have a lot of vandalism on sewers, especially when they run through areas that are not frequented, like park areas and other things. For some reason, manholes seem to attract everybody, and there's nothing like an open hole in the ground to tempt people to fill it up with rocks, bicycles, whatever they happen to find lying around. So this young fellow apparently was doing something of that order, and he fell in. Now, fortunately for him, the slope was so steep, and the flow was so strong, that it carried him right down underneath the ground, underneath the Harlem River Drive, and out into the river, and that kid was rescued alive. He survived that ordeal.
Mr. McCarty's office have been trying him now for about a week. He hasn't responded to letters or telephone calls very much. He's the one who's in charge of Amtrak, head of Grand Central Station area, and I just wanted permission to record sound and photograph the terminal area, film it.
It's Tim McCarty. We've seen the newspaper correspondence. Do you have any copies of it that would be that familiar with the history of the terminal? That would know anything about it, know all the old stories, are retired.
Well, it's maybe not even necessary to talk to somebody who's that old. I mean, if there was just a worker or somebody who's been there for a long time, they could give me an impression.
There aren't that many people around who were there who have been there a long time.
Well, have you gotten rid of your staff? I mean, is there people who still... There were, in just a kind of rudimentary talking with a carousing with a few of the workers, I got a sense that there were some people there who, had some information. I didn't record their voices, but I could try that approach.
Well, we wouldn't want you recording their voices. Before I can do anything, I'm going to need that copy of that correspondence.
How about the recording? I'd like to just find out what kind of, history there is.
I don't know what to tell you. And I don't know whether the people would want to be interested.
Well, isn't that something that I could find out? I mean, just perusing the area, talking to the people, some employees, find out what their feelings are.
No, we wouldn't want to take a case down there without something relevant.
Well, what exactly is your... I've spent a lot of time and energy on this project. I'd like to know what your objections are. I mean, it's been... I've approached this as straightforwardly
On
and...
filming, we feel it's a commercial venture, and the filming at $2,000 for 4 hours. Well, that costs $300 in addition, plus...
Well, I know you can put this thing out of my means as a, as an artist. One thing that just occurs to me is that I don't know if you've ever seen this, but there are spaces around here where executives and stuff I've heard come in and out of commuter trains without ever going above ground. That they actually know passageways into their offices or into the various emergency things in their offices. So people actually circulate in this space.
No building in the Grand Central area has a direct exit to which you have to go out.
That people use
The train comes in on the platform, and without authority of anyone, the people use the fire exit. They have emergency exit only. There are very few executives that will walk up the fire exit. Most of them will walk down the Grand Central and walk back out. There are some semi-executives or people in general who for their own convenience, maybe a bit later, for their own comfort, will use fire exit. But I myself will not come up the fire exit, or down the fire exit unless it's on business. I will walk the Grand Central. Good. Go around if you want. And you can't go behind the gates, by the way. If you go behind the gates, they're going to ask you what the heck you're doing here, and probably either ask you to leave or make you wind up in jail. They do not, the railroad does not want anyone on the same side of the gates because we've had a lot of mugging.
Well, I'm not a mugger. I'm not a secret agent.
Misunderstand you. I'm not saying you are anything. I'm not saying you're a mugger or an undesirable or a secret agent. We have nothing against you. Let's start on that front.
This is about information on a historical level for people of the city. I mean, aren't you at all interested in letting people know, what the background is?
I know as much about Grand Central and memorabilia as anybody else around, but I'm not so sure that I want my voice recorded. Trouble by saying things on tape. And I think that, in my opinion, anyone that would do anything would be tough one.
The kind of thing that I'm interested in basically is some of the stuff that's been mentioned about, the life underground in the station. I mean, there's apparently places where apparently there used to be a lot of tasks, and that's something that people might be interested in, is what kind of life there is there. I mean, are the people actually living underground there? The people like, has there ever been...
Has anyone ever told you that there were people living underground over in Grand Central? Unauthorized. Living underground. Cats over there, they get their heads down. They're saying it on tape. The reason it's going to be in some museum. Because some official of the region might just go to that. I don't hear the case, and then he's in trouble for saying something that's derogatory about the terminal.
awfully late for anybody working, huh? You think there's anybody in this whole place?
No.
Huh? Almost nobody. That's all. It's like one of the lesser executive routes. Obviously, it's not a.
I've not been in that one. I would imagine it wouldn't be the safest place at 3 o'clock in the morning.
That's where we were. This is 2 o'clock in the morning under, and it's totally abandoned. In areas it's about 140 degrees down there.
Oh, I would believe that. What are those utilities?
So electrical and the big pipes of steam, the big steam supply, steam to all of the Park Avenue buildings.
So the land is so valuable.
Grand Central area, right? There's nothing about all of Park Avenue from 42nd to 50th Street that is anything but a great big hole in the ground. I mean, it's a completely excavated space with the buildings suspended above railroad track, and the Grand Central area is an open cut. I mean, it is a. Well, you see in a minute here a section of the open cut, because there's a picture of the wall of one of the open trench, where they drill down and cut the granite out of the face of the earth.
Sanctuaries, those great cathedrals, are built over living water.
And New York City, of course, was a very living island, despite our concrete and stuff.
And so, as I think I told you, it was one of the famous springs of Manhattan is under our North Transect, and that did you go all the way down there?
I went down. It was wet, but it didn't look that wet.
Well, we have to pump it all the time. Otherwise, it will gradually fill with ice water. As you know, the Russian church, holy wells, very, very important to them. If you go to any really authentic Russian monastery, anything like that, there will be a holy well. And that's one of those sort of awkward things I try to explain scientifically. They never run dry. The cathedral itself, as I think I mentioned to you on the phone, has a phantasm.
Now, phantasm is.
All right, all right. Then I'm not arguing with you. You understand this. I'm just telling you that a phantasm is the residuum of a powerful emotional experience which leaves a place marked with the emotion itself. If, for example, you were to go into the execution chamber, thing christened, now it is to be expected, because of the very conditions, that the place would feel pretty awful, and it would. The real problem, more often though, is there was a phantasm. You're hit by this thing when you don't expect it. You have no reason to expect it at all. And then all of a sudden, you're aware of something strange. A phantasm is, I think I speak accurately, is almost never seen, never more than sensed, unless a person lacks imagination. If a person lacks imagination, then instead of being sensed, it will be seen. Now, this is one of the extraordinary problems. If you are a highly imaginative person, and you set out to see ghosts, you won't, you know. You won't. That isn't the way it works. The person who's facing a phantasm is one who has no imagination at all. So that the one phantasm we have at the cathedral has to do with one man who got killed in the process of building. And I've never seen it. I wouldn't. But one of our friends who once was going along this exterior thing outside the cathedral and through the buttresses going along and being followed by somebody with great imagination, an enormous sense. And here is this man gazing around the corner, and so she eventually caught up with him and said, "What on earth are you looking for?" He says, "I'm trying to see where the man went who's ahead of me." This is a condition, if you will, that left, in which the stark horror of a man just about to fall to his death leaves its mark on a place. That's what a phantasm is. In a very healthy part of religion years ago, was technically known as God's Acre, the burying ground. So this is true of an English parish church, that all around is just you and your people have been there forever. Your body or ashes will be there, your sons, your grandsons, they'll all be there. There's no question about any of this. And it gives a whole sense of continuum, and also a whole factual sense, which is very healthy. You don't have to pretend there isn't any death or any sort of California nonsense. You don't have that at all. Death is absolutely, perfectly regular part of the whole procedure. Now, because we too are now starting to run out of space, and cemeteries in the city of New York wouldn't permit you building on a cemetery. It's really believe that. So the one thing that we find increasingly now in churches is the installation of columbaria. You'll end up by having thousands of sets of ashes under a church, and you'll be back in God's safest business again, which is very good.
They've always done tunneling through coal and through various kinds of
mining through hard rock, and again,
make a
now
big
you're coming
distinction
into
between.
The one on the Archer Avenue project, for example, is a soft ground tunnel, as compared to the one that you saw in the Bronx today, the water tunnel, which is a hard rock tunnel. J. Ray Metallica was the mining engineer's handbook, and that refers to mining in rock, or what we would call tunneling in rock. The distinction being a tunnel will be a vehicle for a train, an automobile, sewage, whatever have you. Mining in the context of you're extracting the ore from the ground for a different use.
A lot of what was 19th century tunnels or spaces had been taken over by utilities.
They're taken over, used, they're unmapped, they're in utilization.
But there's no way of knowing what's down there.
It's a maze. It's an absolute maze of tunnels.
How do you know that?
You find out about them when you're driving other tunnels. So this whole area used to be farm area.
Right, but then
There must be thousands
of even remains of a potato.
Right. So any old city, any city as it grows older, Rome, Paris, London.
But we're so used to thinking of Europe and the Mediterranean as having that kind of ancient underground, where New York really, we don't associate antiquity with New York.
Is that underneath that verticalism lies a horizontal body of tunnels. Much the same as a man lying on his back with his veins and arteries. And actually the vital fluids of this city pump through the arteries which are underground. The only romance in tunnels is by the people who built them.
Yeah, the people who are fascinated about that.
People who build tunnels are unto themselves. They're beyond description. They're a special breed.
Well, we got to meet a few of them.
I mean, you can take some of the fantastic names of tunneling in New York City, at least people that I knew who are now gone, and people who are now alive and active in tunnels, and you have the most amazing group of people.
One thing I know is characteristic about the tunneler, at least the ones that we met in the hard rock, where they're almost all deaf, because the noise down there is incredible, unspeakable.
I'm a little deaf too. Okay.
Yeah.
That's true. So we're all a little deaf because of the noise, whether it be from heavy machinery or just underground. Most people in the heavy construction industry have a tendency, because of the noise, to be a little deaf. You run the gamut from the so-called hard hat to the very deep intellect. And most of the hard hats in the tunnel industry are deep intellect. I'll tell you one story. There was a tunnel under construction by Corey McLean. Andy Amasano was project manager, general project manager. The rock was so beautiful, and he loved it so much, that he had Salvador Dali come down in purple coveralls and paint a mural on the rock.
Where was that?
That was on 14th Street and Avenue A, I think, will be, right on the East River.
And what happened to that?
Oh, it was just blasted and concreted, and it's a sewer tunnel today.
That's a good...
But Dali was so fascinated by it that he came down to the tunnel. And the man who brought him down, again, not formally educated, but a great intellect and a great builder of tunnels, Andy Amasano.
So the awe of digging through that material, it touches everyone in a way.
That's right. Absolutely. It's just a tremendous challenge. Those people who do not have the proper intellect can never remain in the tunnel business. We've had tunnel jobs bid in New York City where a contractor's been low bidder. He does the work, he performs the work, he completes the work, and he never bids a tunnel again. Not because he's been burned, because of financial reasons. It just, his body is not attuned to the challenge of building a tunnel.
Where we're working right now should have been concreted 3 years ago. Now, when you leave rock after you drilled it, the air gets into it, and then it starts to come out, shields of it. Not the whole tunnel, but squares, say about 8, 9 feet, maybe about that thick. They'll just start peeling off from the wall. It becomes a little more dangerous. Now we go in there, we're trying to knock any of them pieces down that could hurt anybody. We've had 4 collapses where it's come down. We had preliminary quarry. Nobody was killed during the collapse. We've had 20 guys killed in it. Falling rock, mostly from these motors, though. Guys pulling a pin between the cars, breaks off and they slam together and they catch a guy in between them. And we had one guy, something dropped on the shaft on him. Another guy fell down. Everything like that.
But no pavement or anything on the ground.
The cave-in didn't kill anybody. In fact, they just pulled the gang out when the one in the south came down 3 years ago. Brady spotted it coming and he went and got the gang out of there. And just as they cleared it, about a half hour later, the whole thing came down. Yeah. Most of your injuries take place either scaling, like what we're doing, or drilling, something like that. You get a guy scaling, and one end of that bar is like a steel point. Just like a spear. The other end is like a little pry. He caught the rock the wrong way, and the rock drove the thing through his leg, out the other side, into his jab. And he didn't even get a broken bone. Pronounce my real name is Petrakiewicz. Spell it, I'll give you a dollar. Petrakiewicz. If you check an old ding, he'll always have a candidate. You know what an old ding is?
Ding? Not a ding bad either.
That's an old rock buster of yesteryear. But they're fading out fast. There ain't many of them left.
What is it?
Well, the reason why they chew that, and I'll give you, see, the reason why you chew that creates the saliva. And it's filling your whole throat.
Right.
You're in a dust condition.
It coats
Such
it.
as powdered dust,
Yeah.
rock dust. When you breathe it through your nostrils, it doesn't penetrate into your lungs. Right into the saliva. At the end of midday, you cough up, and you throw out a big oyster. And if you had a little microscope there and looked at it, you would be astonished. The parcels of dust and sharp fragments of rock in there that get into your lung, that's what gives it so open. Racket and go up there after they shoot, about 4 minutes after they shoot, and you'll be so sick you think your intestines are coming out through your mouth.
How many sticks do they use in this shoot? I mean, what
It all depends on the round. 10-foot round, 26 circumference, about 500 sticks.
For each
What is
class?
50 to a box. So they take 12, 14 boxes. That all depends on condition of the rock, how it's breaking, how the burn cut's taking it. The public says these people are being overpaid.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's true.
See the conditions. Now, you were down there a short while, right?
Yeah.
Now, just assuming that you were working down there, you're down there perspiring, you're subject to catching cold, then you're subject to catching pneumonia. Then you're subject, when you're 35, 40 years old, got arthritis in your elbows, your wrists, your fingers. When you're 60 years old, you're walking around with a cane, a little push cart.
When the tunnel's finished, theoretically, there's a shell on the inside of it.
There's a concrete lining.
Yeah. It's all it's all pretty much the same kind of rock, that shit.
Well, this is Manhattan Ship, where the light just down the tunnel 200 feet. That's Inwood limestone. And then beyond that is Fordham Knight.
Oh, the planes came up. And I guess if you're going straight through, you'd be going through one plane right after another, geologically.
Yes, well, when you turn south, you follow the plains of the rock, and when you turn north, that turn about feet out there. If you're parallel, this section is tunnel, you're crossing all this.
Yeah, you're perpendicular to them. Right. Is there any wind or anything like that down here? I mean,
There's a natural chimney effect since we've hauled through Van Cortlandt Park. And the ventilation is from Van Cortlandt Park to Chef Evans during the summer and towards Van Cortlandt Park in the winter.